So over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about bait. We've been talking about information products and how that can create some freedom and leverage in your business. And really, whether you jump on the info product train or not, if you have some degree of bait and some degree of lead generating advertising, then you have to have an intake and conversion process, right? This is your sales process, but we don't want to do all this cool stuff in terms of, capturing our knowledge and experience and putting it out in the world and automating the production or delivery of content or our services, and then forget that we can take advantage of some of that same technology with regards to converting customers. One of the great things, if you haven't read it yet, I'll do a shameless self-quote, or promotion, but I wrote an article called Fraser's Razor, and it's, I won't spoil it for you, maybe I'll put a link on this page for it, but the long and the short of it is that you can have an impact on your customer, on your prospect, on your client without you being there, right? And so we talk about bait as a way of you helping educate, inspire, attract customers. We talk about information product is definitely the way to do it, right? You can sit there and teach them how to diagnose their home, or to figure out pain in their body, or to help their kids get ready for college, or to plan their own trip, or whatever it is. Well, don't forget that things like this, things like video, things like postcards, things like letters, things like audio can also be part of your intake and conversion process. So that is the process that says, you have a prospect and you're building your buying desire, right? This is your AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action process to get them to purchase, sign up, list, whatever. And every business has a different process. I work with a realtor, right? A realtor has a listing presentation, and then you sign a listing agreement, or you have a buyer's agreement. If you're a contractor, it might be the process of calling you and then bringing you over to the house to take a look at their work, give them a quote, they complete the order, and then you move forward. Chiropractor has one process, a dog trainer has another process, an attorney has another process. But really we're talking about from the point that they have responded to our advertising, to the point where they have become a prospect, what are your steps? Now here's the thing to think about, is your life can become very, very positive if you have repeatable, dependable, and this is a key for me, tinkerable steps. So you want to have a situation where it's like step one, let's just get really, really basic. Step one, prospect calls, emails you. Step two, you follow up for appointment, or let's say follow up for phone call. And then depending on your business, just modify as necessary. We'll say, appointment, in-person appointment, and then we'll say, contract of some sort. All right. That might be your process. But the question is, how can we add steps? So we'll do this as well. We can add steps or add content to that process to make it more magnetic, more irresistible, more dependable, even more complex, so that you can have a distinct, a differentiated business model. Get it so that it's less dependent on you, right? I have to have a phone call. I have to have an appointment. I have to have a contract. Maybe it's more manageable by other people. It certainly can be more automatic, right? More dependable. You're not in a situation where it's like, depending on your busyness or depending on your mood, I can't follow up. I have to stir myself to it. That's something that you can handle or manage a little bit here. The other thing that you can handle and manage a little bit here is what is the quality of the person at each level, and thus what is the ease with which they're going to be able to be converted, right? If you have a crazy motivated prospect, then they're going to call you more readily, and they're going to be desperate for your follow-up, and they're going to be desperate to set the appointment, and they're going to be desperate to sign the contract if they're a highly motivated prospect. Well, that's what we try to accomplish with your bait, right? And your lead generating advertising. We want that person to come in pre-qualified, then get your bait and be even more excited about working with you, so that this is just pulling ripe fruit off of the tree, right? And each one of these steps can help them get more qualified, get more desperate to work with you. Each of these steps can be automated, managed, systematized, dependable, so that you truly do have a funnel of people coming in, and as they move down, it feels automatic. And then your job as a marketer is to put new people into the funnel to sign up with you as a customer or client. So what are some of those steps? So Dan Kennedy, who's a marketing sort of maven, guru, master, I think this was the first time I heard this term, but he was talking about multiple step, multiple media follow-up. And what he's talking about there is not multimedia follow-up, but multiple media. So you get a prospect who's raised their hand and says they're interested, then it may be that they get immediately an email, or they immediately get a follow-up phone call thanking them for their interest, inviting them to attend your webinar. Then you have a follow-up mailing that confirms that their participation in the webinar. Or you invite them to a live event, right? So it's multiple media. You have email, you have phone, you have potentially text, you have online, you have in-person, you have mailing, if I didn't already say that. And one thing to remember, because some people get uncomfortable without just jumping on the phone, right? Like, I need to get them on one media. I need to get them on the phone and close that person. Well, that should be part of your process. But, Bartles and James or Ernest and Julio Gallo used to have they're winemakers. They used to have a thing that says, we will sell no wine before it's time. Well, you might want to think about, I don't want to try to close somebody before they are appropriately groomed. And so that's what you're doing. You are educating them, challenging them, inspiring them, working with them so that they can be ready to see the value of your product. And how much better would it be for them to go through a process that is created by you, developed by you, inspired by you, really a manifestation of you, but it doesn't have to be you on the phone with that person or your staff on the phone with that person. So thinking through those steps, we go back to our process. I'll take mine. Let's say that we have, big. Somebody discovers the network and they email me and say, can I be invited to an event? Well, I might say, okay, so maybe we have invite to event, right? And then I might have a reminder if they don't sign up for the event. And then I might have a mail piece to their house, right, with something of value. And then I might have a follow-up invite to a coaching session, right? And really what you want to do is think through what would be a process that would grow this person to their interest and desire to the point where they really want to just hand you a contract, hand you a check, sign up on for your services or what have you. And this is the place where, if we sort of accept it conceptually, then you're really just talking about what would be an additional piece. Would it be a video? Like if your intake and conversion process is the person sends you an email. Well, what if